So this photo, it was shot in the Philippines. I actually went for a friend's wedding. It was a bachelor party and then a wedding, and then we stayed a little bit longer. So like 3 weeks we were there for. And I was just shooting just to shoot, you know, like that's just what I do. Like I just shoot street. And the work kind of built up, and it got to a point where I was like, hey, I think I actually got something I can work with here. And it became my first solo exhibition, and I released my first book with it as well. This photo in particular was the first photo at the exhibition that sold out. We did editions of 3, and this one was the first one to go. It's probably my favorite photo from the series as well. All these photos were shot on film because I only shoot on film. And I'm always trying to find some way to like create some other effects. Like when you use digital, you can use like all the programs and stuff and like, you know, change the tones and the hues and all that kind of stuff. But I don't really do that on film. I just kind of, it is what it is. I just shoot it. So this particular photo I shot through a tinted window in the back of a van. And that's how it became like green. And it was after a day we went to our friend's house, like their property in the Philippines, like rural Philippines. We went hiking to some like waterfall. We had a barbecue. Like it was a really, really good day. So as much as this photo looks really dark and like, you know, kind of depressing, it was actually a really happy moment for me. And I shot it through the glass, the tinted glass window, trying to get that effect. And I was hoping that it would look something like this. And it just happened to turn out better than I thought. And something that, I don't know, I can't recreate this, you know. So to me, this was like, to me, it's a powerful photo. I really like it a lot. So this photo was from my second book. It was called Dear Neighbor, Sorry About the Ugly. Basically, I shot it around my neighborhood, West Footscray. I had just moved there about 4 years ago. And at the time, it was still like, it's a pretty grimy area. Like it always had a bad reputation. And at that time, it still had a bad reputation, but it was changing. I could see the gentrification happening. And, you know, a lot of people were moving out there because it was cheap. And I wanted to capture the griminess of it before it changed. This photo I actually shot from my balcony. And although it's not like, you know, you can't see the griminess in the photo, I like that you can see the like the brick with the security mesh over the window, because that's actually commission flats, which is like, I guess in America they call it the projects. But yeah, I live next door to that, and like that to me is like Footscray. That will always be Footscray, like, you know, that super grimy, like, you know, kind of hood area. And I like that there was just a touch of that in contrast with Melbourne City in the background, and the rest was black. I don't know how it happened like that. Like, it just kind of happened that there was no lights when the film came out. I shot it about 6 p.m. just before dark, so that's why it has a nice sunset. To me, that foreground part represents like Footscray neighborhood. Like it's just that, it's always going to be that grimy spot, you know, it's always going to be that, but it's changing, you know, and it's turning into the city. There's all these high-rise buildings coming up now. There's all these like cool coffee shops and, you know, craft brewery places opening up, and it's changing, you know, so.
Flavors from a lot of different places.
That commission flat building is probably not going to be there in like 5 years. So to me, I needed to capture all of that, and that was kind of like a last piece of that. So that photo, basically, yeah, it sums up Footscray pretty well again. At that time, everywhere you went was just covered in graffiti. And like, you know, as a street shooter, you know, I saw the guy reading the newspaper and like, that's nothing really interesting. But I'm always trying to find like a connection between what I see and something else that I see, and trying to put it together and create a photo out of it. So the fact that I saw that it said vote liberal, like, you know, politics stuff, with him reading newspaper as well, I was like, that was the perfect timing, perfect match. So I had to shoot that straight away. And I love that, you know, that he's at a laundromat, you know, just chilling, waiting for his laundry to get done. There's just graffiti everywhere, and happens to be this political message as he's reading the newspaper. To me, that was just one of those perfect moments. It's like, it's not, every day when you're shooting, you find a moment like that. So to me, that was a good moment. I like that one. So this is one of my oldest photos that I still keep around. This one I shot in about 2013, 14. It was in Shibuya in Tokyo. I grew up there, so I got a lot of love for Japan. It's like, it's home base for me, but I don't live there anymore. But I love that in Japan, like when people are into a certain culture or subculture, they really like take it to the max and they really represent it well. And I saw these dudes coming down the street in a lowrider and they were playing some like Roger and Zapp. It was like, super cool. And I was actually really far away, so I had to run down the street and like run to the side of the road just to snap the shot. And I snapped like 3 photos of it. And I was pretty happy how this one came out. But to me, it was just like that. I love the contrast in it. Like the lowrider, it's like, straight out of like California. These dudes cruising, and then in the background you just see all this Japanese stuff, like, the anime and like, all the Japanese characters. And to me, it's one of those photos that just, there's that really good juxtaposition, really good contrast. And it represents Tokyo and their love for subcultures perfectly. So this photo is not my own photo. It's actually my sister's photo, my older sister Sharon. Basically, she shot this in 94 and she shot a whole bunch of photos in 94. Like, I guess she had a disposable camera or something like that, and she used to just go around taking photos of her friends and just them hanging out. To me, this is like the purest essence of photography, because it's just you taking photos with your family and friends, like, capturing memories, basically. And I had seen these photos and I'd forgotten all about it. And I found the album a few years ago and I was like, holy shit, this is really cool. Like, this is like a time capsule of 94 in Melbourne. And it was funny because all the styles and everything they're wearing and like the music, it still resonates today. Like, they were really into hip hop culture at the time. And, people don't think of Melbourne as being like that. They think of it as something else. But in the 90s, it was really influenced by, American culture and music, especially the hip hop music. So this photo to me, this was like the main photo from that series. Like, I asked her if I could put the series together and make a book out of it, a zine out of it. And she was like, yeah, that's cool. Go for it. So I went through it all and I picked out all my favorite photos and like, the photos that I like the best. And this was like the main photo. I put this on the cover. This was shot in, I think, Noble Park, which is like a suburb in Melbourne. It's kind of a grimy suburb. This was a really famous piece that they had at the time. So obviously Ice Cube. It's just her and her girls hanging out, in front of the piece. And that's just what they did. This is like, pre-internet, pre-mobile phones. They would just catch a train to different train stations, hang out, use the public payphone to call their friends. Hey, let's meet up. Let's chill. What are you doing? And I especially like in this photo that they have, there's a bag in the foreground of the photo. You can't really tell what it is, but it's from a brand called Country Road. And that's very, very like Australian. Like, that was like an iconic bag at the time, kind of associated with, carrying around machetes and weapons and stuff like that. Obviously they didn't have that in their bag, but that's just what it was. It was like a Australian iconic street thing. Like, that's just what it was. Yeah, it was just like, I thought it was a really cool time capsule of Australia in the 90s, and I think it still resonates today.